Okay, we're at the northwest corner in the backyard. The structure faces east. We're coming along here. This is the back exterior faucet. They have vacuum breakers front and back. You're going to find out that we have 65 psi of vinyl frame, double pane windows. I'll get a better look at some of these when I get inside. We got a little bit of stair-step cracks between the brick and mortar here. There's some rust stains on the brickwork because the overflow drain, that's the secondary drain line for the air conditioning system. Secondary drain line. So when that's leaking, you know that there's water in your pan. It means your primary's clogged, you've got a problem. So that's why they put it over a window. If you look out the window and you see water coming down. Now the rust tells us that they probably had some evaporator coil problems. We don't know. The condensing unit is relatively new. We have a whole video for that. Got a little bit of stair-step cracks between the brick and mortar beneath the window here. There it is. See that right in there? Thought I saw a little bit over here too. And it's T90. Not much at all. I'm not seeing much in the way of exterior wall movement, because they're all going to move. Right here, okay, this is all wallboard. Over these windows are fine, but the reason why I'm calling the wallboard to your attention here in just a moment, and a couple things, these are called weep holes. Okay? Home ownership 101, all roofs leak, all walls leak. The idea is they should shed water faster than they accept it, because we don't want water going inside. So we have weep holes. Most of the time that's vapor coming out of those weep holes. Those weep holes, hillbilly home inspection. If you have an event, I've seen a couple of them, water will come out. I hope you don't. But if it gets bad enough, water will come out. Brick is a fantastic product. I mean, it's a great insulator. It's even fireproof. I mean, the walls are wood, but you could still use the bricks after a fire. But it's porous. That's the nature of it. And by it being porous, that's why we have weep holes. It's designed that way. Coming on along here. Siding, and I got some wood rot on the vertical trim board right in here. These rain gutters, even the one over there, these rain gutters do not divert water far enough away from the structure. Coming along here, we've had some kind of a issue, some kind of a problem, because we have these boards have been pieced in, and that's called a butt joint, and you're not supposed to have runners. You're not supposed to have runners because water will follow those butt joints and then go on inside the wall. They will do that. Coming on along. Now this is different than the brick. This brick is different than some of the brick, okay? This brick is high up next to the window. These windows are high up next to the wall. They don't have any brickwork over them, but they don't have any siding over them either. Okay, so those windows are unique. These windows are they're not so unique because the same issues going on with these windows. But this window right here is going over the siding. You have siding above it. Not just trim board, it's not all the way up to the top. There should be a Z bar flashing right there. You've already seen me talk about it in the roofing video, but there it is. Coming on along, this is our patio. Now these pavers, they're beyond the scope of the inspection. It's not what I do. But I feel like I ought to be able to tell you that they're not dimensionally uniform. They probably never will be. So, if Granny comes to visit you, you want to, hold her by the arm and carry her along, Old people like me and Granny, we lose our balance sometimes. More wood rot right in here. Okay, on trim board. See if I can get this open pretty easily. This is the access to the jacuzzi bathtub. And I didn't close it up real good because we're coming back. I gotta run water, so I really didn't close it up that good. I'm closing it up good now. It's a little loose in this frame. But what I wanted to call your attention to, if I can, the pump motor is bonded right there. That's a good thing. Pump motor is bonded, but it's just floating. This pump motor is not supported. And in the bathtub, see those little nubs under there? I don't know if you can or not. I got a still image of it. But those nubs are supposed to sit inside of a bed of cement. This pump motor and the bathtub are not properly supported. We'll come back. Like I said, I'm going to run some water and see if I can find some leaks. These electric receptacle outlets, alright, they're GFCI protected, as they should be. That's a good thing. But they should be labeled as being so. I was able to trip it, so I know it's GFCI protected. I was able to trip it. Can't get my screwdriver back in there. So, but you should have a little label that says GFCI protected, and it should have a cover on it, like a bubble cover or a helmet. So it's called an in-use cover, so that you could plug things in. You plug things in and then close it, and then you could run your Christmas lights and stuff, and water wouldn't get in there. In the day, that was acceptable. It's not that day anymore. Electric light fixtures on the exterior walls should be sealed to help prevent moisture infiltration. Storm doors are beyond the scope of this inspection. This one's got a torn panel or a torn screen. It doesn't seal real good at the bottom. Now this one's a little different than these windows. These fenestrations, this window is like those fenestrations. But right now we're getting into some different types of fenestrations. And anytime you have brick over a lintel is that metal thing right there. Anytime you have brick over a lintel, you're supposed to have weep holes. We're missing our weep holes right there. I think with the roof, did I talk about this? I'm pretty sure I did. The rain gutter, there should be an inch gap, and there should be kick-out flashing on that corner and this corner, so that water's diverted off of the wall. Boy, that sounds awful familiar. Same thing, we got like some little cracks between the brick and mortar up there. We're missing our kick-out flashing. This is a better example of the flashing not mashed next to the wall right. Of course, the rain gutter again, you know, repeating ourselves. A little bit of gaps between these top little windows, these fixed windows, lenses. Okay, those are called transoms. The little transom windows. A little bit of gap between the frames and the brickwork. We got high soil here. We got to do a wood destroying insect. Okay, trees are touching the roof. Trees are touching the structure. A tree shouldn't be any closer than 25 feet to a structure. Okay, so for root development and branches, for these reasons, okay, it shouldn't be closer. So it's a foundation thing. Over here we got wood to ground contact and high soil and wood mulch. What is wood mulch? Dead wood. Where do we put it? On the ground. Where do termites live? In the ground. What do they like to eat? Dead wood. Mulch. That's conducive to wood destroying insects. Let's see what we got over here. Hang on. Well, for one thing, this is the fresh air for the fireplace. That's a good thing. Lawn sprinklers too close. That's a bad thing. Wood to ground contact. That's a bad thing. Are these ants? Those are ants. Sometimes you see termites live inside of ants. So basically, they war with each other. So if you see the ants, you don't see the termites. That doesn't mean ants is a good thing. And also, I just did a bad thing, by the way. I just did a bad thing. When you disturb an ant nest, they are programmed, they're geared, they've evolved. That's danger. And so they'll go out and establish 3 more colonies, 3 more nests to perpetuate their species. That's how they evolved. But that's how we found out it wasn't termites. Rain gutters are too close to the house. Now, grading and drainage. We got level grading and drainage. That's a bad thing. Alright? Rain gutter doesn't divert water far enough. That's a bad thing. but 3 inches and 12 feet, you know? Is that 3 inches and 12 feet? I don't even think it's that. But more specifically, this area, and we're on the south side of the house, is perfectly level. Perfectly level. And you can see that water just collects here. It's called the West Nile disease. That's mosquitoes. That's mosquitoes. Now it's a pointer. I think it's too close. Bushes too close. Wood mulch next to the house. No weep holes. No weep holes. No weep holes. Exterior light fixtures should be sealed. Around the siding here, what do all walls do? Same thing as roofs. What do? They leak. So they'll shed water faster than they accept it. So this right here, right in there, you see that? It's called a weep gap. There should be about a 2-inch gap between this wall and the concrete. You don't see it very often. It's not done very often. Not done right. Again, no weep holes. No weep holes. This used to be a doorbell. This is a newer doorbell, and it might come with the house or it might not. We do not have a weather sensor. High soil and mulch, bushes touching the house. Bushes touching the house. Bushes touching the house. This is where we took our water pressure test. We had 65 psi. This is the water heater TMP drain line. That's about 3 inches right there, and that is as close as it should be to the ground. So there's nothing wrong with it. But what are we not seeing here? We're not seeing something. We're not seeing something. Okay, this is for cable or the lawn sprinkler system. I'm missing a pipe. I'm missing an overflow pipe. For the, not an overflow pipe, well it is. That's the temperature pressure relief drain line for the water heater. What we're missing is the safety pan drain line. I don't see a safety pan drain line. High soil, bushes touching, high soil, bushes touching. Got a little wood rot going on up here, right there on the cornice and in the soffit. Let's see if we can get a better look at that. A little bit of wood rot up there. A little bit of wood rot up there. Now if you'll notice this garage door, car entry, alright? Well, that's a semicircular arch. And there is no lintel under that. And because you don't have a lintel, then weep holes are not required. So you don't have weep holes here, I get that. But they're not required. Garage, whether you're talking about bricks, you're talking about shingles, garage panel doors. Number 1, number 2, number 3. 1, 2, and 3 overhead door panels are bent or distorted. And then the wood casement around the garage car entry, it's in direct contact with the cement. Direct contact with the cement. So capillary action right there. There's nothing to keep the water from whipping up off of the cement into the wood and rotting that out. And right in here we got a little bit of repair. Alright. For all practical purposes, that is a shrinkage crack. Some people call them corner pops. Call it what you will. Basically, if it's in the span of a hand, and it goes back this direction, I don't know whose hand, it goes back this direction. Yes, it holds brick up. It holds brick up. But it doesn't, it's not a foundation problem. It's not a foundation problem. Doesn't mean you don't want to fix it. This is one for sure. See that? It's a control joint. Excuse me. Oh man, that cracked me up. Okay, that's a shrinkage crack right there. Now these, some people call them finger holes, those are core holes. And we don't really want open core holes. You know, we don't want water sitting in there and eroding and causing this stuff to crack like that. Satellite dishes should not be mounted directly to the roof. I've never seen them. I went to a class a long time ago. I went to a class and they told me all about it. And I got a picture that I'm going to bake into your report. There's a certain little jig, a bracket. It's supposed to work real good about those. I've never seen one. I've never seen one. Moving on along, you know what I'm not seeing along this wall? This is kind of interesting. All the way around the rest of the wall, I'm not seeing any weep holes. We do not have any weep holes on the north side. We don't have weep holes on the north side. Then, this clothes dryer vent. Alright, those are bird houses. That old style clothes dryer vent, they are no longer acceptable. It needs to have an exhaust hood with a flap on it. We got a skylight. Let me get a picture of this. This is all locked up over here. So we're just going to have to be creepers. So kind of creepy today. Okay. That right there with the hillbilly home inspection, just like we started, that is called a control joint. Some people call them expansion joints, call them what you will, but when you have a long wall like this, it's going to move. So we put these joints out here, just like the lines you see in the street. So hopefully the movement, that absorbs the movement. Now if you'll see right there, some of our sealant's missing. So sealant needs to be added. Okay, in fact it needs to be cleaned out and added. And then trees touching this side of the house. Wonder if these rain gutters are holding water too. Ooh, man, that water's warm. It's full of water. And right up there, you can kind of see some deflection. Well, you know, that's called sumping, but I don't usually call it sumping unless it's really, really bad. And, you know, you're not going to get away from it. It's on everybody's home. It's on my home. You know? So it's typical deflections, not something.